Hello, everybody. We'll begin the public hearings. The first public hearing is ordinance O-24-14, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget for the general fund of the Town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1, 2023 to June 30, 24, to reconcile expenses and ratify over expenditures. Do we have any comment from anybody in the audience on this ordinance? Hearing none, ordinance O-24-15, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget for the utility fund of the Town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1, 23 to June 30 of 24, to reconcile expenses and to ratify over expenditures. Any comment?
Mr. Mayor, may I just make a comment? Just for the record, we have all received comments today from Mr. Duvall about these issues, and I'm sure we'll discuss them later. But he wanted them entered into the public hearing record. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Larry. O-24-16, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget of the Water Reclamation and Treatment Plant Fund of the Town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1, 23 to June 30 of 24, to reconcile expenses and ratify over expenditures. Please, step forward, please. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address.
Deborah Buckingham.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm bringing to the attention of address the flat fee, fixed fee in that manual that's being charged to every resident of the town of Chesapeake Beach. The manual for 2020 did not reflect it in that manual either, but we are still being charged that fee on our bills. Matter of fact, the manual for 2020 doesn't even give a purpose for that flat fee, fixed fee anywhere in the manual or definition for it. So at this time, the residents of Chesapeake Beach are due a credit from 2014 to 2024 that they have paid to this town for those fixed fees, flat fees, because they are not in either one of these manuals. Thank you,
for
sir.
your comment. Any other comment at this time? Hearing none, ordinance O-24-17, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach adopting critical area regulations. Any comment on this ordinance at this time? Hearing none, ordinance O-24-18, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach amending the zoning code related to decks. Any comment on this ordinance? Hearing none, we'll move to the final one, ordinance O-24-19, an ordinance amending section Article 196-2, the town code, to name the baseball diamond at Kellums Field Mahoney's Diamond. And to be clear, it'll always be Kellums Field. I don't know who it is. Is there any comment at this time? Not you, my love. Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearings? Oh, please.
Kathleen Baralt, 7409 B Street. I just wanted to comment that thank you, Mayor Mahoney, for your 28 years of service and your love of the game. And I think it's, I wholeheartedly support naming the diamond after you. So,
Thank you for your comment.
you're
I
welcome.
happen to agree with you. Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearings?
Close.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any ayes have it? Okay, here we have a recess for about 8 minutes, everybody, and we'll begin the town meeting at 7 o'clock promptly. For the record, I have a new gavel, a little baseball bat. Okay, very good. We will begin with the November 21st town council meeting. Let the record read that the entire council and mayor are present. Mayor.
Respectfully requesting that I lead the pledge of allegiance this time.
You can, and can I respectfully request from you that I left something in my office on a good day? All right. I'll be right back, everybody, sorry.
You right here.
Hope so.
I don't have it now.
They won't trust you with that? I have one as past president of MNL. I might start using that. It's been in the box for a long time, 10 years or so. Yeah. It's so much stuff like that is unbelievable.
I got one from my time as President Castle.
Yeah, that might hurt somebody. Especially my car.
I'll continue where I started off. Let the record read that the entire council and mayor are present, and it looks like practically the entire new council and mayor are present too. So that's a lot of present. Before we begin, I want to recognize a special guest here. That would be my wife, Judy.
Yay.
Right there, yay. Judy hasn't been here since 8 years ago, the day that I was, swore in. And I suspect she's here now to bring me home and make sure I don't sign up for any volunteer this or that or there, So when she says I'm done, I'm done.
Yep.
So that'll be it. Thank you, hon. And thank you for, all those third Thursdays and other meetings for the last 28 years that you raised, Patrick. You did this around the house. You did all this stuff when I ran out to come to town hall. So thank you very much. And I think the significant spouses and partners of every elected official has somebody to thank for that. So everybody gets it. And you guys, be in store. That's all I'm telling you. Okay. So we've got a fun night ahead of us. We've got a lot of praise. We're going to have some applause. We've got some gifts from the council to the residents, and this should be a fun night. So I'm going to ask Councilman Morris to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you. All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve?
Second.
I think we'd like to discuss.
You have an amendment.
Yeah, we got an amendment. Under resolutions and.
Okay. Is there a second? Do you want to state what? You can keep talking.
Yeah, I
if you want.
guess our plan is that we're still going to allocate. Hope will be a successful MOU negotiation. Talk about the concerns that.
Okay. Very good.
We won't be discussing it.
Yeah. If you know them, say them.
You want me to just enumerate?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
When I was talking to Todd earlier, he just as one
also some language that's just not clear. So there's just a lot to work out there, and I encourage folks to take a look at the MOU. I'll
Okay,
stop
very
there.
good. Yes, and your amendment makes sense. Is there a second to,
I'll second it.
okay? All in favor to the amendment?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Now we're back to approving the amended agenda. All in favor of approving the amended agenda?
Aye.
That passes too. Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Now, is there public comment on any item on the agenda?
Like a bad penny, I'm back.
Council-elect Peralt, I think we know where you live.
Thank you. I'm just here tonight as the former chair of the Planning and Zoning. I'd like to speak, just give a few comments about Chris Smith. Chris Smith is my neighbor, and he's been recommended for possible as my replacement on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I've known Chris for 5 years. Chris is a firefighter, so he's well-versed in public service. He's also an EMS technician, but he's been a firefighter for the last 15 years in Alexandria. He's a father of 2 young children, a boy and a girl, and a great husband. He's very involved in the community, and the town is very important to him. He's a great neighbor, and I think he would be an excellent member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I just want to endorse him for that. Despite his great love for Michigan State Spartans, I say go Penn State. Sorry, Chris.
Illinois just beat Michigan.
Yeah, well, you know we are, right?
So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comment at this time? Hearing none, we will move forward. We will move forward to approval of the minutes of the October 22nd public hearings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the October 22nd town council meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any ayes have it. At this point in time, the item is special presentation from the mayor recognizing town staff. I didn't write anything down. I don't have any words. I mean, I have words. I don't have any words written down. I really just want it, this being my last public meeting, I really just want to not only recognize the entire staff that has worked for me these past 8 years, but these are the men and women that have made this a successful town. I think I've said often that, you know, if my job only entitled working with these, you know, brilliant people, I would want to be mayor forever, because they are absolutely, you know, brilliant. And as I've said this often too, you know, when you're retired, they say you need things to stimulate your mind and to, you know, keep you thinking and that sort of thing. And, you know, being able to just sit down and, you know, work through problems and find solutions with my staff, who seems to come up with good ones all the time, and watching their brains work, the machination of analysis to come to a solution well thought out. I mean, it's been fun. You know, I've really enjoyed it, and I love these guys. I mean, every single one of them. So I guess I'm not going to mention them all, but what I am going to do is ask them who are here to all stand. That would be you, Holly. That would be you, Jay. You there? Okay. Very good. Yeah, and if you can, pass it on to those who work for you. Yeah. So, thank you very much. It's been truly an honor. Next, we have a special presentation from the president of the Board of County Commissioners, my friend Buddy Hance.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members. So tonight is the mayor's last meeting, and you know, my last 4 years I've spent as president of the Board of County Commissioners, and I'm here tonight to recognize the mayor for the great working relationship that we've had. You know, we've had great open communications, and I can tell all you, the mayor always had the best interests of Chesapeake Beach, always. And it's been an honor and a privilege. So I have a citation here from the Board of County Commissioners for you, Mr. Mayor, that I'm going to read into the record, if you don't mind.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of Calvert County, Maryland, in recognition of his dedicated service to Chesapeake Beach, we honor Mayor Pat Irish Mahoney upon his retirement. Mayor Mahoney's commitment to the residents of Chesapeake Beach has been a testament to his leadership and steadfast devotion throughout his tenure. He championed local causes, enriched community life, and worked tirelessly to ensure a brighter future for all. Known as a strong advocate for open space programs and recreation, he prioritized accessible, vibrant outdoor spaces that residents and visitors alike could enjoy. His legacy includes numerous achievements from bolstering downtown development to enhancing public services, and his unwavering dedication has left a lasting impact on Chesapeake Beach. The Calvert County Board of County Commissioners is pleased to confer upon you this Commissioner citation given our hands and seal this 21st day of November 2024, signed by all five.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. If you don't mind, I know, as most of you probably know, Buddy lives about an hour south, and he's a farmer, and we know farmers don't stay up and watch the 11 o'clock news. So I do have some comments, and if after those, feel free to, take your hour drive home, because none of us do have that ahead of us. But thank you, buddy. And what I've said this before, and I want to say it again. There's our commissioners are absolutely wonderful, and yesterday I ran into Catherine Grasso, who's our third district, and Catherine's everywhere. I've never met a commissioner in my life who enjoys her job the way she does, and but I do have to tell the one tale because I think it's important. All of us were here during a once in a lifetime pandemic, okay, and I have to say and commend two county commissioners, Mike Hart and Buddy Hance. Buddy and I talked all the time. Buddy reached out to me all the time. It was there. It was, reassuring. And I think Mike Hart was making visits to Mayor Benton's house. So between the two of us here and the two of them up there, the four of us were in constant communication. And that's just what the citizens, if you remember at that time, we weren't hearing from anybody. So thank you, Buddy. Thank you, Mike, because it was a pandemic, and, it was all over. A lot of us just talked about those who never did reach out to us, because it was like, well, you were home, you didn't call. But, Buddy called. He was always there. And one more thing I have to say about Buddy is he's an old school politician. When you need something, you sit down in a room, you say, okay, well, what do we have to do to get there? And you got that right there. This is where we got to be. And you just start working at what you got to do to get there. And you give and you take, and you give and you take. And at the end, you're there. And sure, maybe some red tape has been cut. That red tape didn't expect to be cut, but it was cut, and the things got done. And I'll just leave it at that because, we owe you so much, buddy. So thanks for all you've done for us, and it is appreciated.
Well, now you insulted me and you called me a politician.
Yeah.
I liked you up until then. But I also want to take this opportunity to thank the rest of your council for your public service. For anybody that's never sat in those chairs, it's not as easy as it looks. I want to welcome the new council and Mayor Wall. I'm sure we're going to have a great working relationship. We value the residents of Chesapeake Beach and what you bring to Calvert County, and we don't forget you, even though you're way up here in the corner.
Yeah, well, and thank you, because some do. And, one of the, Mayor-elect Wall, who's actually Mayor Wall, because once you're a mayor, you're always a mayor. We had lunch yesterday, and we just talked, earlier, and, the goal here, my goal, and the goal of these folks here is for us seven to transition into the new seven. And, my goal is to take all of my relationships that I had, that I worked so hard to build, good ones, and just, bring them right over to the new mayor. And so there's no rough edges. We can just, smoothly do what's best for the town of 17, so of Chesapeake Beach. So right now we've got 14 in this room, I think.
Good.
So we're a football team. So Commissioner Hance, I'm going to say a few words about some past officials in the county there, and then if you like, I'm going to call recess for you to maybe make your way.
That's okay. Thank you all very much,
Yeah.
and have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy. So I knew, when I read that Buddy was going to be here, I thought it probably appropriate at this time to just, sort of recognize some past officials. And of course, that would be real tough. So I thought, well, who was in office when I first joined council in 1996? Who were the top leaders then? And amazingly enough, at the federal level, it's still Steny Hoyer. Steny still serves, this district and this town, and he does very, very well. His, he has a staffer who's assigned to take my calls, and he gets his fair share of calls, and our federal friends are important because we like federal grants. At state, I didn't realize then in 1996 how blessed I was, because we had the Senate President Mike Miller, the late Mike Miller, and the late George Owings as our state delegate. And those two gentlemen, Mike lived a mile that way. George lived a half a mile that way up in the Highlands. I mean, they were truly neighbors and citizens of Chesapeake Beach. So we were really, really lucky there. And I'm just blessed to have, known those gentlemen for all these years while I was in office. At the county, and I may have left somebody off there, buddy, because we're going back to 1996 or so. Mark Fraser, I still, keep it in touch with. He's been a great counsel for me my 8 years here. Hagner Mister, Mary Krug, who I still see around, the late Linda Kelly, and Pat Bueller. And I still, thanks to Facebook, I still keep in touch with Pat a lot. So that's kind of neat, So I want to thank them. At the time when I came on board, the town leader was the late Gerald Donovan. That was another strong leader. Gerald, who this town hall right here is dedicated to him, in his name. He was a strong leader, and he was all about the town of Chesapeake Beach. I used to call him, being a baseball guy, I called him the Bob Gibson of local politics. And by that, I mean, he was tough. He was direct. He wasn't snaky. If he was going to throw a fastball at your noggin, he'd let you know well in advance. That was Gerald. And I will tell you, I admired that greatly about that man. So I was blessed here. And these are they're Wall and I, of course, sat next to each other on the council way back then. I guess my first term was your third term, if I'm not right. And yeah, so I was very blessed to have started with those people. I learned a lot from each one of them, and I'm very thankful. So having said that, I'm going to take a wee break in case anybody who's a farmer who lives an hour south wants to head down the road. That's fine. If not, you feel free to hang out, Next, we have a special presentation by the Chair of the Board of Elections, great Randy Getman, regarding the 2024 Town of Chesapeake Beach elections. Randy,
Thank you.
you're unreal. Thank you. Yeah.
So I gave you the results sheets. Any questions on any of that? It also had the kind of like a summary sheet of registered voters, and kind of tells out the percentage. Our percentage of voters this time was 37.5%. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2016, that was 46.3%. And 2012, it was 46.7. I can't really count 2020. That was COVID, so that was only 27.8%. And a lot of that was absentee ballots. What I am so grateful for all the thanks I've been getting from everyone on running this. But I just want to take a couple of minutes to say I wouldn't have got through this without a great group of people. And the last slide I gave you kind of summarizes the names of the election judges, the names of the town staff and public works, and then our board of elections. Because I'm being recorded, it's okay if I take a couple of seconds and just mention the judges' names, right? Okay, so John DeSieve, Teresa Melson, Marilyn Van Wagner, Evelyn King, who I think is here, Norma Robertson, Natalie Wanup, who is new to this, Ingrid Lamb, Cynthia Ryan was also new, and we also had a Brooke who's a seasonal employee of the town, and she came out and helped as well. She assisted. the town would not have got through this without the town staff. Um, you know, Holly got with me in July and we went over action items, and she's unbelievable how quickly she takes care of things. And the web page that she kept up, and the communications, I'd give her information and she would send it out. She was always there to support. Sharon Hum, town clerk, really tied to elections, and she, despite all the other duties that she has, I really tied her up with a lot. She had to receive every absentee ballot application and process it. Martha Kennedy was also there. Public Works, we had Jay and Billy gave us a lot of support in setting up and taking down. And I should mention the Board of Elections. Outside of myself, Dominic Sirocco and Victor Guido, we worked the heck. Our election day was quite intensive for us because we didn't have poll books. Our judges, my board, spent an awful long day, and it was that the line never stopped. It was all the way out and there to the end. We processed about 140 people an hour. The first hour was about 110. We were getting used to it. After that, we had a steady flow of about 140 that we were able to process. That got us up to, I predicted at about 9 o'clock in the morning that we were not going to get to 2,000 by 8 o'clock. But of course, we would have stayed as long as we had to. But the lines dwindled after 7. But the judges, they never slowed down, and they didn't take breaks. They didn't stop. They saw that long line and they did everything they could to process it. Victor, one of my board members, he went out and he talked to everyone in the line and encouraged them, and it kept everybody happy. I mean, the town support of because the long lines was actually pretty good. They were cheerful. They were friendly. They helped each other. They would watch each other's place in line while they went and voted for state and then came back into line. It took about 40 to 70 minutes to get through that line on an average. But these judges just kept working and working and working. I don't think any of them had a hot meal. Even though Sharon went out and got it for us, I don't think any of them had one because they were so dedicated. They just stayed right at it, stayed right with it. Let's see if there's anything else I want. Did you guys have anything for me or any
Did
questions?
you want to read the results? That's part of the obligation for this meeting. That either
Okay.
I can do or you can do.
No, let's see. We
I
can.
only need the winners.
All right. So, and we did have to do a mandatory recount. That's because the 6th member of the council and the 7th candidate were only 3 votes apart. So we had to do a mandatory recount. But I'm going to read the results of the actual election. We had total votes cast were 1,914. 1,693 were processed on November 5th with the DS200. 203 of absentee ballots were processed on 7 November. We did another DS2 scanner absentee ballots. There were 18 of 31 provisional ballots that counted. Bruce Wall, mayor, received 1,034 votes and will become the mayor. The top 6 candidates for town council: Laura Blackwelder received a total of 1,088 votes. Jamie Schultz received 1,000 votes. Kathleen Berault received 960 votes. Jonathan Evans received 863 votes. Eric Reinhardt received 860. Anthony Green received 803.
Very good. And the ballot results, do you have that in front of you?
I-
Ballot question?
Oh, the ballot, I'm sorry, I do have it in front of me. Yes, for question number 1, which is about permitting expanded gaming. The yeses were 439, the nos were 1,462, so the no won. For question 2, to continue attendance of Bayfront Park to town residents and their guests, the North Beach Volunteer Fire Department and Twin Beaches deputies. The yes vote was 1,513. The no vote was 387.
Landslide.
So both of the questions were
Well,
pretty much covered.
I want to thank you, Randy. I mean, what you've done these past years is just unbelievable. You're a volunteer extraordinaire, and I'd like to give Randy a hand. Thank you, sir. So I do have some words about to share with our new officials, if you will. I want to congratulate all 7 of our newly elected officials. While Mayor Wall and Council-elect Reinhardt have served up on this dais, before, 5 of you are about to embark on a new exciting chapter of your lives: municipal public service. Boots on the ground, as former College Park Councilman, soon-to-be Governor Paris Glendenning explained it to me way back in 1996. To paraphrase some advice from the late and great Senator Mike Miller, and shape it into my own words, it's all about the town and the people who live here. It's not about me. It never was. So be approachable. Listen to your constituency. The citizens spoke loud and clear when they elected you 7. They were also very clear, as you just heard, when 80% of the ballots against future expansion of gambling machines in town, and also 80% to limit our town beach to residents, first responders, et cetera, only. Please champion the will of the people, your people. Don't assume that your town staff is in the wrong. 99.99% of the time, you will find that they did their job accurately and professionally. Enjoy this special chapter of your lives. Make it fun for your families. And I will leave you with an inspiring quote from President Ronald Reagan. There is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. So good luck. I know you all will do very, very well. Well, and if you're here, stand up, if you don't mind, if you want to. So we all, there's a lot here to have a very good. Very, very good. Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we have the town administrator's report. As always, Holly, is there anything outstanding or in particular that you want to mention?
I do.
Now's the time.
So I wanted to take this opportunity to share with the public the fiscal status of the town of Chesapeake Beach under this administration. And so the context of how I will do that is I am comparing the last fiscal audit of the prior administration, June 2016, to our most recent audit, which is now posted on the town website under government, and our audit findings are there year by year. And so this is the final audit of this administration, which ended on June 2024, under myself and my tenure over the last 8 years as the town administrator and of stewardship of this town's finances. It's pretty remarkable what has been accomplished fiscally within this town. Our net position starting from 2016 till today has increased by 66% since the start of this administration. So from 33 million to over $54 million net position increase. That's an increase of over $21 million. Our unrestricted net position has increased by 61% since the start of this administration. So that's from close to 9 million to over 14 million, an increase of almost $5.5 million increase in unrestricted net position. Our rainy day fund have increased by 68% since the start of this administration. So from 2.5 million to over $4 million in rainy day funds now available. That's an increase of $1.7 million. And while doing that, liabilities have been decreased. So a reduction in liabilities by 52% compared to the start of this administration, down from 11 million to about 5 million. That's over $5 million decrease in liabilities. Our fund balance increased by over 200% since the start of this administration, from 8 million to over $23 million. That's an increase of $15 million during this administration, all while decreasing taxes. So our tax rate has decreased by 17% during this administration. So what does that mean? That means on the average household, valued at $395,000, that's putting at least $250 back into citizens' pockets a year. And we have a utility fund that is now historically, for the first time, self-supporting, adhering to accounting standard for enterprise fund accounting, transparently accounting for user cost, and now able to qualify for grant funds and low interest loans for that very important critical infrastructure that we all rely on to turn your water on and flush your toilets.
Well, that's remarkable. Thank you, Holly, so much for that work. And I have some words to say. I guess I want to go over what a wonderful town administrator Holly is. And geez, that's a hard act to follow, Holly. But I also, for that presentation, I want to thank our treasurer, Brittany Moran, and I need to thank this fiscally prudent council. And when we talk about debt, reduction, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Town Councilwoman Bodine, because that seemed to be her mission for the last 8 years. So I suspect she's debt free at home as well. So thank you. It was team effort. I think we all knew in regards to this. I think we all knew where everybody's strengths lie. And this council never cared who got the credit, like I was saying earlier. So that's how all that happened. So, but it was the hard work of staff that really put these numbers together and stayed honest. So I do have a few words. It's my last meeting, so the last public words I'll be able to say about the town administrator. Hiring Holly Wall was the wisest move I made as mayor. She's the best thing that ever happened to the Chesapeake Beach town government. Her unwavering integrity and sense of ethics are the true fabric of her character. The role of the town administrator is to carry out the will of the mayor and town council, our legislation, our direction, as well as the legislation of prior mayors and councils. She doesn't make the rules. Her job is to carry them out until the council passes legislation that would change our directions for her to follow. Any and all actions by her and her staff are at my direction and that of the town council, specifically me. 8 years ago, I was elected by the residents to find out what the heck was going on in town hall and fix it. 8 years ago, I hired Holly Wall. The direction she received from this mayor and town council was to dig into the weeds, find the inequities, the special treatments the chosen few have been enjoying, make it public, stop it, and ensure fairness for all. She and her staff have done their jobs consistently, with integrity, and with ethical standards to give our residents fair and equal service to all. My direction, and I've said this quite often sitting up here, is basically, I don't care if you lived in this town for 30 days or 30 years like me. Everybody gets treated fairly. She followed my directions diligently and to the letter. She and her staff did not and will not look the other way. They have integrity. Let the chips fall as they will, I told them. For these past 8 years, she's taken the hits and the criticisms that should not be directed at her. They should be directed at the 7 of us. She has absorbed them all, making life easy for me and the council. She considers all this to be part of her job. I applaud her for that. She and her home have been physically threatened, but her dedication to her job was undeterred. I applaud her. She's one strong woman. If Judy and I were blessed to have a daughter, we would want her to be just like Holly. Yet, this past election was amuck with spineless keyboard cowards making shameful, untrue accusations to discredit her livelihood, her character, her reputation. And for what? Following the law and the directions that me and the town council gave her? 28 years ago, public service was not this toxic. And so for all you new guys, beware what's ahead of you. And finally, as I stated earlier, hiring Holly was the wisest action I made as mayor. Her work ethic, integrity, character, sense of honesty, and ethics are second to none. Thank you, Holly. I am forever in your debt. And let's everybody give Holly a cheer. Thank you. Very good. And as we normally do, you've read the town administrator's report. If we have any questions, I'll begin with Councilwoman Hartman.
Actually, I just have one question on page 4. At the top, the facility remains available for youth sports providers with a permit for each date in operation issued by the health department per health department guidelines. Could you clarify that or explain that?
Sure. So we have a licensed food service facility. However, when youth sports providers want to use it for concessions, it's just a requirement by the health department that they get their own license to operate.
Okay.
So I'm just conveying that process is still in place. There has been no change to that. So as long as there's a license through the health department to operate, youth sports agreements will provide the youth sports providers to do that.
But they can get just one permit for like an entire season if they're going to do it several times?
They could, as long as they have all the dates and they have the food that they're planning to sell.
Okay, great.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. One quick question about the recycle bins. So I like it. It works out really well for us, I think, in our neighborhood, if you have a garage. And I like the fact you can opt out and not. I'm just curious about the old ones and when they will be picked up. Is that date's been set?
We are going to be finalizing a date very, very soon. So we'll be getting that out. We'll be recycling those and getting a credit back for the material.
Okay, so that's to come.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Morris?
I would like to laud Holly myself. It's been a privilege sitting in this position the last 8 years right here on this dais. So I guess parting comments here. We've got a healthy town administrator's report. The water park. Where are we at with the water park right now? What are the current efforts?
We are holding on that for right now till the next elected body comes in and decides a path forward.
We know that with public outreach, and I think it's important that the next council have their fingerprints on what that's going to be. It doesn't hurt my feelings that, we're not necessarily under contract for anything. This may be the right path forward. Next council certainly have their work cut out for them, but for the financial disclosures up there, we're in excellent shape. There's amazing flexibility to do anything that we need to do. It's not limited to that. Some of my comments are geared towards, people coming in. With the Kelms Field, we've still got like incomplete work over there. What's up with that?
Yes. Wayne, did you want to address that, the additional material that they're waiting on?
Sure. So the work is ongoing. If you've noticed, the tot lot wall is up, the backfill's in. They're working on completing the tot lot portion. The storm drain itself that's going across the field, we're waiting for one inlet box to come in. It's being made now. Once that's completed and installed, that
An
part will
inlet
be
box
finished.
to come in.
Storm drain inlet catch basin.
That was part of the original design.
It was modified based on field conditions, and that's what we're waiting for. It had to be special ordered.
Oh, guess that stuff happens. Field decision, field change. Jay?
Long story short, there's a storm drain line that wasn't on any plan that comes from the courtyard, so we had to modify it, move it a little bit, custom made box versus off the shelf.
Happens, yeah. Okay, so I guess a lot of what we see over there is the that new small playground going in. Okay, I know we're going to pull the MOU, I think, off of the agenda, but it is in here in the pack, and I would just like to make some parting comments for colleagues that are coming in, the new mayor. I've been on pretty consistent on this record with this. The costs to refurbish those courts, I haven't felt that it has been fair that the town taxpayers pay for all of that. It's been my position. I've been more than willing to pay half of whatever they want to do. Now, from what I hear now that there's a state grant.
I can speak to it after you're done speaking.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, I know that that's coming up a little bit, which seemed like a win-win. I can wrap my head around spending the money on it. It's coming from outside. That town taxpayers aren't paying for it. I'm all in for changing the lights and doing everything. Somebody else is paying for it. But on that, I would still caution the next administration, if you can, I'm never been comfortable with doing that work ourselves, contracting it, doing the work on school property. It's something to be cautious about. But another thing I've underscored here is we have an estimate here, which, and I guess we've been working with, but the paving contract, we've got one estimate to do the work. In where I come from, that's not acceptable. You got to have competitive bids. You talk to different people, they have different ideas, and it builds a better mousetrap. Plus, the cost that you have, if you only have one cost, how do you know if it's a good or bad cost? You don't know unless you can get something else to compare it by. So I would certainly encourage the incoming administration to seek multiple bids for that, regardless of what BOE is asking us, because if you end up taking the mantle of that and taking charge of the construction in there, it's a self-evident. You need competing bids in there, and I would try to steer away. If you can give the money to BOE and let them deal with it, that would be the best thing. As far as the MOU is concerned, this is all just little I's and T's. I mean, I see that area operating the way it always has ever since I've been in town. They've been monitoring it when school is in session. We haven't had any problems. We've got a new school superintendent, and maybe they're trying to codify, if you will, some things and some agreements. The MOU is a small little issue. Funding it from an outside source is a big deal. I think that's a success, and I think that, Mayor, you were involved in that, so thank you. Let's see, I'm a little long-winded there, but the coastal resiliency, besides, I know there's some scuttlebutt, the little floodgate over there, and I'm not trying to say yes or no with that. I know that y'all had identified that as something to be done. That was a small little thing. But what are the big ticket meat and potato recommendations? When is this? Well, this council hasn't gotten them, as far as I know. I mean, the incoming council is going to have recommendations from coastal resiliency, and they'll have to just make some decisions there on cost and all of that stuff. That'll be up to you. Did you want to?
I would say that the main priority is addressing the floodgate that's inoperable. So we're engaging the state to figure out a way that we can move forward on that matter to be sure to not increase flooding opportunities.
And that, again, that's a small matter. There's big ticket items for coastal resiliency. And so that's what I've been eagerly looking at. The floodgate is a small little thing over here. These other things that we're going to be getting engaged in, expensive, and it's going to take some, the next council will weigh in, will decide that stuff.
Did you want to address that at all about the floodgate? Because I think the way that we were looking at it is that has to happen before some of the other projects. Did you want to address that at all, Wayne?
Sure. So the floodgate, as you know, is pretty much inoperable at this point. It just stays open. There was an opportunity. We met with the state and had a conversation about making it operable.
Why does that have to be done first before other items?
it's the current thing that's there. The other items that you're speaking of, I imagine, are the areas of the town that are eventually going to be flooding. And I think that's a more immediate item.
Well, it's a
than
known,
those-
but it's a little thing. And maybe this is a question better for the coastal resiliency.
Yeah.
Go
Can
ahead.
I add something to that?
Sure, please.
I think one of the issues that makes that a priority is the frequency of increased flooding along 261 right at that marsh area. That's blocking access from Chesapeake Beach to North Beach and blocking access from the fire department to North Beach. So that's why it's pretty high up on the list.
I think I'm just suggesting that if it's not necessary, it doesn't need to be linear. You know, you've got other things that are going on there. And so what are the next things? Let's not wait. And, you know, we've got all these steps with this thing over here in the gate. Finally get that done. Okay, well, now what's the next step? We can be thinking about what these other things are now, is all I'm saying. And that's maybe at the feet of coastal resiliency, that group. I think that's all that I really had. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you. Under the discussion of the water park, sorry, page 3, each of the concepts in the first sentence has a sentence with an asterisk next to it, but I don't see any definition of what the asterisk denotes.
Zero entry pool?
Page 3, concept number 1, this first one says features new slides, a zero entry pool, asterisk. Concept 2,
I think
zero
that-
entry.
That was just a definition of what the zero entry pool.
Okay, thank you. Page 13. What's this? Yeah, I was just going to ask if we have any updates on coastal resiliency from our discussions with the state and PALS, and I presume we have not heard back from them.
Well, PALS is complete. They completed their assignment, PALS, through the University of Maryland. Still working with the state.
Okay. 13, I guess, Jay, this is probably a question for you on the items on the wet wells and the CN 31st Street Stormwater Pump Station. Any idea of a schedule for that work?
I'm hoping we move forward with approval of the purchase with the pump tonight, and it's about 8 to 10 weeks out.
Thank you. Last comment I have is on the water reclamation treatment plant. Josh, again, thank you for another very detailed report and the excellent work you and the staff continue to do to optimize our water reclamation treatment plant. I will miss reading your reports. Thank you. Thank you.
If I could, Larry, you can still read them.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I know I will. Most of my questions have been answered. I just want to touch base on two items that I think deserve a little extra coverage. Well, first one is the tennis court. So I'm not going to put myself in a position of suggesting what the next council should do by any stretch. I do think it's important that as we look at this with the time we have left, we make sure that if we spend taxpayer money, taxpayers are able to use the facility appropriately. I think it's a mistake to make an assumption that because it always worked a certain way, it will work that way in the future. In fact, from the feedback I heard from Todd, that is not the case, or the MOU would not have been by the BOE as heavily as it was. So I just need to be cautious there, make sure we do the right thing on that. And then I was just hoping you could finish out what you started on the floodgate, because my understanding is that closing that gate would be a disaster as things currently stand. And so I wanted to make sure that that was not the plan, because in our conversations, that has not been the plan up until now.
So I can give you two scenarios. One's a rainy day plan where the gate doesn't close because there's water coming into the system to drain out to the bay. And the second is a storm surge event with no rain. And that's when the floodgate closing would be important, because then you wouldn't get the back charge of water from the bay into many of the communities and along 261, which creates the flood, which creates the access issue going north from the fire station.
Except,
just add to that, one of the other things that we've already mentioned to MDE was the possibility of the town constructing what I'll call an emergency overflow from the pump station at 31st and C Right now, that pump station discharges into the marsh area, which is part of the reason why it makes it almost impossible for us to close that gate during wet weather, because that stormwater pump station is pumping into the marsh.
Yeah,
If-
that,
If we were able to construct an emergency overflow from the 31st C Street pump stations that would go directly out to the bay and be used only during extreme events, then we might be able to close the gate.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Because right now it pumps in a big circle.
It
and
does.
That's problematic. So,
It does.
anyway, enough on that. Great report. Otherwise, I'll pass the gavel. Thank you.
I would just like to recognize Holly's efforts. This town administration has never been run so well. And you might not like all the decisions that we make, but when someone follows the ordinances that have been passed and then takes flack for it, that's an unfortunate situation. And so I personally would like to say thank you for all of your efforts. It's amazing the amount of just the amount of improvement that has occurred in the past 8 years. And it's really you, your team, and the rest of the department heads like Jay, Brittany, Sharon. It's been a wonderful administration to work with. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your words, everybody. Town Treasurer's report. We have read Brittany's report. If we have any questions, I'll begin with Councilwoman Boda.
No, I got the audits. I read through them. Everything looks great. I do have one question when it comes to utility billing. I understand that people put in like a date, like they want the money taken out on, if they do a direct payment on like the 15th of the month. But if the bill is due on the 14th or the 13th, then it creates a problem. And so if I'm out of here, but if someone could look into that and see if it could be addressed so that there's more of a grace period. I'm not saying a grace period for when the late fee is due, but a grace period in looking at the banking circumstances of when the date is, like the 15th would have been late. And so maybe something we can look into. And I can give you specific examples if you like.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Mr. Frank.
It's nice to recognize all the staff and it's been a great opportunity to work with some of these people. I have learned more from Brittany about budgeting than I ever knew when I first took this seat. And so I really hope that you provide that same education moving forward to the next council because it's that guidance that led to the report that Holly just showed us. So I appreciate that. And otherwise, your report looks great. Nice to see the ARPA funds are still there.
Again, Brittany, thank you for your report. Thank you for doing such a great job as evidenced by the audit report, giving us a clean bill of health. And I just hope in the new administration that there's a council member that takes on Councilmember Boldin's focus on our financial situation so we can move forward. Thank you.
Good. And before I go to Greg, I wanted to take the time to just recognize and thank Brittany for everything that she's done for this town, and her, her unwavering integrity is really something to applaud. I don't know how many months ago it was when, somebody said to me, hey, you finally, I see you finally got a real treasurer in there, huh? And I said, yeah, she's got, degrees here, there. She's real smart. She knows everything there. And I said, thanks for the compliment. And he said, it wasn't a compliment. What I'm saying is you finally got one, Pat. What took you so long? So, but I got her. So she's here and this is great. So, thank you. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Brittany. Yeah, first treasurer who's a CPA, right? Very stringent and is part of the reasons we're in the situation
The
we're
first
in.
treasurer we hired.
Yeah.
This group, yeah.
I don't know if this is the right place for it. And we're talking about some issues with the water rates and some things. And there are some things that are going on. I know there've been, maybe I'll just characterize them as some unintended consequences, varying situations. And I would suggest that the town suspend all late fees for water bills, utility bills, maybe until sometime next year, just so they can get on their feet and figure out some of this stuff. Some of the citizens feel like they're under fire a little bit. And again, I think there's some unintended consequences here. And I also would suggest that we unfreeze. I mean, we've kind of frozen a lot of people in their use of their properties with some of these issues that have come up. And I'm suggesting that we unfreeze those uses until those issues can be cleaned up. Because I think we're going to find that, we're going to find in the long run here that some of these residents may have been unfairly, some of these notices probably shouldn't have been sent to them. And their uses have been frozen. So I would like to see us unfreeze those uses for those folks now. We'll hand that over to the next administration. And I would also like to see us maybe suspend all late fees until in the first quarter next year or something, just so we can get through some of these weeds. And you brought up a really good situation. I don't, with these things with the water bill, how does it get any worse? People are getting fined for fees and they're really not late. Certainly not intended. But some of that stuff is out there. I'm just trying to be realistic. That's all that I have. But thank you again, Brittany.
Yeah, I have no questions on the report. Thank you.
No questions, and congratulations on another successful audit.
Indeedy. County Engineers report. We've heard Wayne's report. We'll begin any questions with Councilwoman Hartman, but I do want to take the time to also thank Wayne for his dedication and hard work. He came in and a little bit of a mess there. He had to figure things out, and he did a great job, and he's dedicated, and he's been all about the town, and it's been a, not a step better. It's been a mile long step higher than, before. So I really want to thank you. And while I'm giving out my thanks, I don't want to forget one person here, and that's the big guy. Thank you. He's been special. He's a real attorney. He's not the one that that goes after low hanging fruit. A lot of mayors in Maryland have those. They just take something easy and they don't really want to do the hard work. They want to do the easy work. So I want to thank him for that and for his integrity. And I also want to thank him because he knows the time I have an Irish temper, and every now and then I get a little squeeze over here. And it's reassuring, and I kind of know that that's time to shut up. So, that's what I do. And while we're talking about each side of me, but between him squeezing me here and Holly writing a note after I say something wrong, I don't think I would have made it through 8 years. So, that's all I want to say. My mother would have blessed it and thank both of you if she was still here, because she knows me. So yes, Wayne, any questions of Wayne? Peggy.
Thank you for the report. No questions.
No questions. Thank you.
I have a question about something on your report, but Holly's probably going to answer it. Richfield Station, there's been zero movement on the developer there and the bond issue that they've got. And is there any update on that at all?
Actually, and Todd probably can, he's been working with the developer's attorney. They are trying to mobilize now, but he still has several issues that he has to resolve with the town first before he can get started. So we're trying to work on that punch list of items that he needs to resolve, and also needs new public works agreements now because they've had since expired. So those will be coming to the next elected body, new public works agreements for the Richfield Station developer.
Yeah, I've argued that it's completely appropriate for this town to leverage developers to get their work finished and get out of town. Richfield Station, that's been ongoing for how long? There's incomplete areas in there that haven't been paved for over a decade. And I'm concerned that the HOA is going to be turned over a bag of worms there. That's a whole different aside. That's not associated with the town's risks and the things the town's involved there. But anything that we can do I think a big part is turning over properties that were agreed to be turned over during permitting agreements. Leveraging developers to get these things cleaned up. It's really for the greater good of all of our folks. And it's important to keep that pressure on there. And again, I think it's completely appropriate for the town hall to do everything they can to help our residents get these developers, get them cleaned up and out. So step down off of my soapbox. Thank you.
For the night or for now? For now. Okay.
Questions I had were addressed in the town administrator's report. Thank you for your report though, Wayne. Thanks.
Thank you.
The Heritage closeout, congratulations. Some of the issues Councilman Morris is raising there, we've learned from that, right? So the Heritage is cleanly and done closed. Jay's nodding his head. That always makes me happy.
Heritage is done.
So the only other question I have is I don't see on here the alternative safe routes to school, any progress on that. Frankly, to me, that's a connecting Chesapeake Village is probably the most important thing. As much as I like the Route 261 pedestrian path, AKA, I can't remember, but we do have a sidewalk there on the other side of the street. If you live in Chesapeake Village, you can't even get, can't get into town safely. And we've identified an alternative. I know the state finally got off the dime, but my guess is we're going to end up with the alternative. Time will tell. So I'm just curious what the status of that is.
It's item 2 on the list. We actually submitted 4 alternatives for how to address that pedestrian connection. And it's up to, I guess, the next administration to review that.
I'll make sure you see that, Charlie.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's not on here, but good. Thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, may I just add one other question for Wayne? With the mention of safe routes to school, it reminded me of a question that I missed in my comments, and that is on the
Tisk.
I provide an update. The state did officially approve our modification. I did just hear that. So next step is to get the RFP back out. So we need to modify the RFP with the new dollar amounts.
If you find it, I'll go to Greg, and if you find it, Larry, we'll get back to you.
The Bayside Boardwalk and Overlook, we've talked about this before, and I wonder if one of the options there might be for us to look at proposing that we shift that walkway a little bit further east to get out of SHA jurisdiction.
Yeah, we actually provided a concept that shows that.
Yeah.
It's just waiting for funding or
And I
to move forward.
understand we still have to deal with DNR, but right now, when we're up against 261, we got to deal with SHA and DNR. If we shift out a little bit, then we don't have to deal with SHA. Thank you.
That's correct.
Thank you. Something was brought to my attention, or I realized, I should say, it's really during the campaign, talking to incoming Councilman Schulz over at the Heritage. It seems that all of the public street lighting is on the HOA to pay for. Why is that? If it's a public road and it needs to be lit for safe reasons, who's to pay for that? Why is the HOA paying for that?
I need to verify that that is the case. Are you positive that's the case? And it might be just because it hasn't been turned over yet.
Maybe, okay. Well, I got my information from Mr. Schulz.
Well, hold on a second here. We're not going to.
Okay,
Get
yeah.
out of hand.
Well, it was more out of a
we have
curiosity, because that's something that
Mr. Schulz will be sitting up here next month, so we're good with that.
Okay, yes,
Let
sir.
that go.
I certainly would, if that is the case, I would say that's a mistake. And that needs to go onto the town books somehow. In Richfield Station, we've got a large share of traffic lights, but we have one that's on a public road and the town owns it and pays for it. All the other ones are in the density areas where we got condominiums and townhomes. And if those densities weren't there, they wouldn't have the street lights. Those folks pay for those.
Well, nothing is turned over to the town until we just sign this, like the wet
Okay.
well, everything. So I believe that's going to be turned over too, but I'm not clear, but we'll follow up on it.
Well,
We
the
just
HO
took it over.
Understood. It's my understanding the HOA dues over there are set to pay for the lighting costs. So we should definitely look into that. Anyway, thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
very
Mayor.
good. Next, we have the Calvert County Sheriff's Office Deputy, Twin Beaches Deputies report. There we go. Lieutenant Hollinger. If we have any questions of the lieutenant, I'll begin with Councilwoman Bodine.
No questions. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for all your support.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Larry's going to read the water treatment reports. I'm going to read the sheriff's reports. This is a particularly good report to me. There's very little on here. What happened to the bottle of Tito's?
Got return to the store.
Okay. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Thank you. Just a quick question. We got the alert at the firehouse on Saturday about the accident. Deceased person down on South 261. There any more
That was-
details on that?
It's still under investigation. I can give you more details after this, but the short of it is this person was speeding. This is someone who is known to us for driving reckless. We've been trying to catch, and we tried to pull him over, and they didn't pull over, and ended up in a chase. And so it's still under investigation. We believe this person was on the influence.
Thank you.
So-
Stay safe.
Yep.
Very good. I just want to thank you, sir, for your service all of this time. You know, we've had great service from the Sheriff's Department for the 28 years that I've sat either there or here or wherever I've sat. And one of the things that makes this town special, and one of the things why, you know, houses go in this town, you know, pretty quickly. Everybody want to live here. And one of the things that seniors want to live here, especially, is it's safe. It is safe. And this council here has always authorized funds to ensure that it's safe. You know, I remember when we first got our own deputy, and I remember when we, you know, to get their own car, all these little things that we moved up to help that happen. But, you know, the long and the short of it is the people in this town feel safe walking the streets. They really do. And that credit goes to you guys. And I thank you for that. It certainly has made my 8 years up here, you know, pleasant, because, you know, the long and the short of it is, you know, you run a town, you have this, and you're not doing anything wrong. But, you know, basically, you know, our streets are fine. We don't have, you know, potholes. We don't have this there. Everything's fine. Our water and sewer rates are still the lowest in Calvert County, to include North Beach and Anne Arundel. We have all these great things going on. We can always be better, and we appreciate, you know, our citizens and people on council helping us make things better. But we don't have the kind of crime where people are saying bad guys are running into my house and shooting my family, or we don't have all this stuff going on. Bad guys don't like coming down here because they don't, if they're bad, they don't go home that night, or they don't go home for many, many nights. So I want to thank you. I'll thank the state's attorney, and I'll thank the judges that we have in Calvert County, because, you know, as it was when I came here and as it is now, you know, bad guys, you come down here, you know, you're not going to make it home, you know. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, you can never say enough and give enough thanks and gratitude to all of our first responders. There was a hit and run at 260. It's near the Richfield Station light, I think. There was someone on a bicycle, and there was somebody hit them and took off. And did you know anything about that at all?
I'm not familiar with that, but I'll look into it real quick, get back to you.
It was
after
some
the meeting.
scuttlebutt that I saw, and somebody had asked me about it, so I thought,
Maybe it's something I've overlooked. But
Okay.
The firehouse responded to that.
yeah, I was just wondering because the person took off apparently, and
I don't think the person was seriously injured.
the portable speed limit sign. We have any plans for that? Rolling that out, and what's the plan for that?
So we did receive it, and I downloaded the software, and we're ready to deploy it.
So we're going to stick it over at Richfield first for a little while.
We can. I got to get it to print out those tickets first, though.
Yeah, again, I think that's a nice tool for the town to have. You know, working together with you know, the deputies here, and there's various places where people speed. We see that, and that we all need to be reminded sometimes that, you know, we just need to chill out a little bit. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman.
No questions on your report. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
No questions, you report. Thank you and stay safe.
Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's been an honor working with you all. See you around.
Thank you.
town.
You will.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hopefully in a non-official status.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we can give him a hand. You want to give him a hand? Here we go. Yeah, the blood's flowing down our arm into our hands this evening, you know. Okay, North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. Larry, anything you want to?
If I may add, sorry, we don't have a report this month, but a couple of things to add to it. Upcoming events our department will participate in. Our Town's Light Up the Town event on Sunday, December 1st, 4 to 6. Department will host our annual Pictures with Santa and the Grinch on Saturday, December 7th from 11 to 1. Come on out to the banquet hall at the firehouse for Pictures with Santa and the Grinch. There will be kids bingo immediately after that. Our department will also participate in the North Beach Christmas Parade on Saturday, December 7th. Santa and the Grinch will tour the Twin Beaches area on Friday, the 6th, Saturday, the 7th, and Saturday, the 14th. You can check the department website for details on that. Today, we had a very interesting presentation at the library on the history of the North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. It was very interesting. Lots of pictures going way back when to the history of the department. And then finally, the planning is moving forward, celebrating the department's 100th anniversary in 2026. Stay tuned for further details. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor's report. Our last mayor's report, and you can see the smile on my face.
Ours too.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. Look at my wife out there. She's holding back. That's right. He did say that. I know. You thought he would have waited. I get asked constantly. So, what are you going to do now that you're not going to be mayor anymore when your term is done? And right away they want to hear all these grandiose plans. This. Like I'm still 40. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to drain my brain of mayor thoughts. I'm sure as the incoming Mayor Wall will tell you, it's every day, man. It's every day. Every day you wake up till you go to sleep, you're thinking about the people that you represent and the issues and how you can make it better. And it wears you out. Haven't had a day off in 8 years. So, however, I consider myself a fairly interesting person who likes to show his bride a good time. So what comes into my life will probably be very exciting. So stay tuned. And I'll end my mayor's report by recognizing this town council. As you can see this evening, there's no quit in this bunch. I mean, we put our hand up, took an oath to serve the people until 6:59 on December the 19th. And that's what we're going to do. There's no quit in everybody here, so this is great. I mean, this is who we are. And like I said, back to the, quote by Ronald Reagan, we never ever cared who took credit in this group, and it's going to end that way. I specifically, one by one, want to, recognize and applaud Councilwoman Bodine. She spent 20 years, fighting for, small town charm, as they say. So she's been fighting for the people. She's just been, those of us that live down on the, waterfront, we see the bay every day. We see how beautiful it is. We know why people moved here, and someone's got to, protect that. And I applaud her for, joining, me and the rest of council in preserving that. Diminutive in size, but there's a lot of firecracker in that woman, so thank you for all you've done, Vice President Fink. I don't even know where to start. No, actually, one of the joys of, when you're in a group for decades is you actually make friends. There's some that you actually make friends that you hope will be moving on, in your life. And Charlie is one of them. We have a lot in common. We're both from Pennsylvania. We're ex-Alder boys, and we like Penn State. So to be there. But Charlie filled his role as vice president better than I've seen. No offense. Because even though it's not written in the code or anywhere that he's supposed to do this, he has a way about him to seek consensus amongst his peers. And he doesn't mind calling his peers up, and finding a consensus. And he's made my job easier because, basically, I had to have a sense of the council, and Charlie provides me with that sense of the council. So thank you, Mr. Vice President. It's been an honor serving with you, And I've remiss there, and Valerie, all the best to you and Glenn and Ashley, moving forward, and all the best to you and Elizabeth moving forward. And now we'll go to Larry. I wish there was vodka in here, Larry. When you, I think I need to, call up whoever's in charge of Mr. Webster's dictionary and let him know when under the term public servant, there should be a picture of Larry next to it. You know, I mean, Larry is, you know, he not only, you know, volunteers for everything we have here. He does it in the county. As you guys know, Larry is a volunteer firefighter up here. But I can never, ever, I will always, you know, remember Larry, and Larry have a place in my heart for, you know, how he stood up during the once in our lifetime pandemic. You know, we were flooded. I mean, you know, me and Holly had meetings with, you know, the governor, the federal, this is here, we're doing all this kind of stuff. And of course, Holly had to still do her day job, you know, and Larry just says, "Hey boss, anything I can do to help?" And I was like, "Oh boy, you're going to regret those words." So Larry was my quote unquote, you know, deputy mayor for that period of time during the, you know, pandemic. And he took on everything I didn't have time or didn't want to take on. And he never complained once. He just did it. You know, so I really have to applaud. And meanwhile, he's sequestering at the volunteer fire department, trying not to catch COVID so he can put out fires, you know. So thank you, Larry. You've been truly extraordinary. And I have to tell you, if there's one person here, no offense, everybody, that I want to applaud, it's Larry Jaworski. Thank you, sir. Okay. You know, I guess I mean, you're a CEO when you're up here, you're a mayor, you know, you're this, you know, and everybody has a thorn in their side. And I've had one for 8 years. And the upside is I love the guy. You know, he's a great guy to have beers with and talk. His heart is in the right place always. I met Greg. I think one of the times that I met him, or maybe the first time, we were on Kelms Field when your son was playing ball for the Bucks, and I was coaching soccer then, and we, you know, we talked and we chatted, and I realized his passion for Richfield Station and the town, and you know, I remember when Greg ran for council the first time, you know, I told him I wanted that passion that he had for Richfield Station to stay, but to also take it to the town, you know. And I believe at one time I even told Greg, and I wasn't mayor then, I was running. I said, you know, Greg, it actually might be more important for the town if you win more than I win. That's how highly I felt of him and his dedication to not only his community, but to the, guess Larry doesn't like Greg. He already broke out in tears. So I really want to thank you, Greg. I think that every mayor needs a thorn or two, definitely not four. You know, and to Mayor Wall and to all future mayors, you know, I wish your thorn could be as genuine as Greg. So there you go. So thank you, sir, and all the best to you and Susie and the kids moving forward. You know.
Thank you.
Probably.
It maybe could have been a little thornier.
Okay. Well, this is my report, not yours. See what I'm talking about? You know, okay, Keith, you know, I've known Keith for a long, long time. I believe I was here on council when he was first appointed to planning and zoning by Mayor Wall, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't know what to expect out of Keith. I didn't know what to expect out of me. I learned more from Keith than anybody up here. And I'll tell you why, because Keith has been all about, you know, public health, you know, whether it be it mental health, be it feeding people, be about opioid abuse. And I really came to appreciate Keith, and I got to admire him so much when the pandemic came, because I think we all realized at that time that mental health is a real issue. And it's happening, guys, and you got to address it and do something about it. So I want to thank you, Keith. And you know, one time Keith walked into my office with a bunch of litter. We thought we were going to have some sort of a paper bag, what's that called? Plastic-free town or whatever. And he showed up in my office with these plastic bags and trash that he picked up off the street, you know. And all I can tell you, Keith, is every time I'm in Rowan's parking lot and I pick up a piece of trash and put it in, I think of you, brother. So you converted somebody. Hope it was worth 8 years of your life, you know. And last but not least, indeed, only 3 people have ever sat in that seat over there. You know, me when I was on council, Derek Favre, my dear friend, and of course, you know, everybody has to have a favorite. and Peggy's my favorite of this group up here. No offense, everybody. Peggy is clearly my favorite. She brings to us what, I don't remember having, before, a lot of us in my years, I'd say probably 3/4 of the people on the council that I've worked with in 28 years were, government workers. And, I'll leave it at that, but her knowledge of all those years, her career in corporate came to help us understand how things are done in the real world. Peggy brings the attitude, and this is something that I was almost talking about with Jonathan and Jamie earlier about this. I didn't get a chance to finish, my sentence was basically, when you can do what you want up here, but when you leave, you really need to smile and take your council person hat off and we're all here for the town. So let's just, try to get along, try to be friends and do that. But Peggy, something about that smile just seems to, put us all at ease when we look like we're going to get at each other's throats. Then we see her over there smiling, and it's like, okay, well, it's not that bad. Peggy's smiling, But I'll give anybody a warning about Peggy, moving forward is that don't assume she's done talking. She will let you know. She was just taking a breath, So Peggy, thank you so much. You've just been a real joy to work with. So that's my mayor's report. I hope it was one of my better ones. And we will move on to reports of officers, boards, and committees. Planning and zoning. If we have a report, I didn't bother to read. I didn't read much before this meeting, but I want to thank planning and zoning. I think that's what's important. We have, let me just count how many people here who have served on planning and zoning. Did you ever serve on planning and zoning, Bruce? Okay. So, okay, right. We've got, did you, Randy? I'll get to you, Charlie. Sister. Remember Catholic school? Sister. Yeah. Okay, Randy, Jonathan. Okay. I think we got Lori over there. There's a young lady next to her who still is on planning and zoning. You used to be on planning and zoning? Did I appoint you? Okay, very good. Thank you. Did I vote for you? I think I did. Okay, very good. So we've had a lot of people here. We've, Charlie Fink. We've had Larry. We've had Keith. Yeah, so who did I miss? Oh, the incoming councilwoman. And of course, Kathleen, who is the chair of planning and zoning up until her resignation this morning, So you guys, I think, and I remember one time, Mayor Walsh said to me, this is way back when I was a new councilman, that planning and zoning may very well be more important than sitting on council, and I didn't know what we had ahead of us. I didn't know what a comprehensive plan was. I didn't know, I was new, and he was right, So once again, hands moving. Let's clap for all the planning and zoning people. Thanks for what you did. Yes, indeed. So enough of that. Board of Appeals, a continuation hearing on case number 2023-03, Rod and Reel Incorporated, Donovan Estates LLC, was held November 13th of 2024. The next continuation hearing will be on January the 15th of 2025 at 6:30 p.m. to receive public comments on the case. Before I go to C-Box, I want to, Judy, I'm sorry. I think I told you after the mayor's report I was going to take a time out because you have to call Patrick or something like that. So if you don't mind, I think the first lady has to go and yeah. Thanks, son. I'll call you later. Okay. C-Box. I don't think Sue Alexander's here. We have seen her reports, and Sue Alexander's a wonderful person. I sure wish she was here because she certainly deserves our applause. Going back into history, I guess I would be remiss if I didn't mention John Bacon. I remember John. I remember the day that when John was in the atrium, and I think he was waiting to meet with Mayor Wall about this whole thing. And he and I chat out there because I said, what about, what are you doing here? And he mentioned something about meeting Bruce Wall and oysters, and I just knew I liked oysters. I didn't know what the heck he was there for. I think we're going out to lunch to have oysters, but anyhow, Seabox has been a great thing. You know, it's recognized statewide, and it's just unbelievable if you read the reports about what they've accomplished. You know, to keep the bay clean and to also preserve our oysters. Climate Change Advisory Group. Who runs that one, Larry?
I think, I'm not sure.
Okay, you take over.
I'm going to speak for it, though.
Okay.
Town Administrator's report addressed the status of our town's coastal resiliency plan and discussions with various state agencies. Unfortunately, there's little progress to report over the past several months. As discussed in a report from the Planning and Zoning Commission, the chair of the Coastal Resiliency Steering Committee, Jeff Foltz, addressed the commission at their October 23rd meeting. Mr. Foltz provided an update on the town's coastal resiliency plan. My sincere thanks to Mr. Foltz for all his work to move forward with implementing the coastal resiliency plan. Keep up the good work, Jeff. Finally, a huge thank you to everyone who has participated in activities of the Climate Change Advisory Group over the past 8 years. And I hope the incoming administration will continue the efforts to address the coastal resilience of our town to protect our residents and local businesses. Co-Chair Keith, any comments? Thank you. Any questions?
You're still on.
Yes.
EDC.
Economic Development. Calvert County Economic Development Authority and the County Economic Development Advisory Commission, which I chaired, did not hold meetings in October. Yesterday, the Small Business Authority hosted a tour of small businesses in the Twin Beaches. Purpose was to meet with local business owners to learn more about their businesses and opportunities to increase the success of these businesses to support our local economy. A tour was planned to support Small Business Saturday coming up, and everyone was encouraged to continue to support our local businesses. Also yesterday, I participated in a virtual meeting of the Calvert 250th Anniversary Committee. Our group is working on scheduling events across the county in celebration of the nation's 250th anniversary in 2026. And finally, yesterday, I attended a meeting of the county 2025 event calendar planning committee. Thank you again to everyone who has supported the economic development of our town over the past 8 years. It's critical that we continue with the appropriate economic development in our community to support our residents and local businesses. And I hope the incoming administration will continue these efforts. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Green Team.
Yeah, quickly, I'd just like to thank the Green Team. I think it's fair to say that this is the most vibrant committee when it comes to the Green Team that this town has ever had. When you have over 60 volunteers coming out to clean up Fishing Creek, that's something to be celebrated. And so that team deserves a lot of credit. And I'm proud to have been a member of the Green Team. They did great work. That's it. Thank you.
You did great work. Thank you. Kellam's Revitalization Committee. Charlie Fink.
No report, but we are looking forward to getting the work done, and looking forward to see what the next council does.
Very good. Thank you. Twin Beach Opioid Abuse Awareness Coalition.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
First time I had to say that, huh?
Yeah. So we did not hold a meeting in November. Our next meeting is on 12/12 at 6 p.m. at the Northeast Community Centers, and everyone is invited. That's open to the public. I have communicated with Mayor-elect Wall just about, and he is supportive of our coalition under his administration. So we look forward to keeping that going and keeping those activities moving. And the one activity we had planned for February was in partnership with the Twin Beach Players. I just learned tonight that they've had a change in leadership, so that's probably going to be pushed off for a month or two while that gets sorted out. But they are still interested in doing a kind of a dinner and a show activity like we did 5 years ago, and so we're excited about that. And then we also have a public art project that we'd like to work on, but I think that'll be coming up in the next few months as well. And then, of course, the Glow Vigil that we have every August 31st is another activity. So with that, that's probably all I have to say about it tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Keith. You've done fine work. You've done fine work. And, part of public service is, saving the lives that you'll never know you saved. And I think I can give Keith and his group that credit for that. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, if I may, thank you. And two, I wanted to thank all the members of the coalition for their great work over the last 8 years as well. At the last meeting, I read off everyone's name, and I don't have them in front of me again tonight, but I do appreciate everyone's efforts. And because without them, there would be no coalition.
Give them our thanks, please. Okay, resolutions and ordinances. Introduce and vote on resolution R24-5, a resolution to establish a grant for all town residents to receive town-funded registration for the Beach Buccaneer Youth Program at Kellum Field. The background on this is in the last budget session that the town council did approve a $5,000 grant for the Beach Buccaneers. Sort of ran into a hiccup with that, but I'm committed to giving that money to that organization. And the idea came to me that possibly a real win-win would be to establish this fund for our town residents so they can enroll their children, their girls, their boys, whatever. It's open to both. And that way that money will still pour into the beach organization. So that's what I hope would be looked at as a gift to the citizens, residents of Chesapeake Beach from this town council. So is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any ayes have it? Thank you. Vote on ordinance O-24-14, an ordinance to the town council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget for the general fund for fiscal year July 1, 23 to June 30 of 24 to reconcile expenses and ratify over expenditures. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any ayes have it?
Right, just a question. I raised
Please
this.
ask your question. Go ahead. I mean, I didn't mean to sound harsh.
That's okay.
Yeah, you.
We all received a letter from Mr. Duvall earlier today that addressed some of these issues. I'm wondering if there's any comments or background on this?
There's nothing in the comments that relate to any action here of town council as to why.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and most likely nothing valid, but we will, as I said, if he has any, moving forward, there's a new group up here, so we'll leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, and the ordinance has been passed, thank you. Vote on ordinance O-24-15, an ordinance to the town council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget of the utility fund of the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to reconcile expenses and to ratify over expenditures.
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any ayes have it? Vote on ordinance O-24-16, an ordinance to the town council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the annual budget for the water reclamation treatment plant fund of the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1, 23 to June 30 of 24 to reconcile expenses and to ratify over expenditures. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve?
Or a second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Vote on ordinance O-24-17, an ordinance to the town council of Chesapeake Beach adopting the critical area regulations. Is there a motion to approve?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Vote on ordinance O-24-18, an ordinance to the town council of Chesapeake Beach amending the zoning code relating to decks. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And the last one, before I begin, I want to, publicly thank Councilman Jaworski for his input on this particular ordinance. Thank you, Larry. Vote on ordinance O-24-19, an ordinance amending section Article 196-2, the town code to name the baseball diamond at Kellum's Field, Mahoney's Diamond.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. No unfinished business. New business. We have give me a second, guys. We have an appointment and a reappointment ahead of us. Both of these, we have an opening in planning and zoning now. And we actually will have an opening while we're still in office for the Board of Appeals. And Ricky Birch had a volunteer has asked to continue his volunteerism. So both of these are under the purview of this town council. As I said before, we don't quit, and I want to applaud the members of the incoming council for, you read in the newspapers about all this kind of stuff. And this one says, don't do a Supreme Court judge, all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to applaud you guys for being very high roadish and just letting this council do their business, as you will do yours very, very soon. So the first one, is Chris Smith here? There you go. I know you. Chris, typically, we bring an appointee at a work session, but we didn't have a work session. So, and as I usually say, you tell us a little bit about yourself, and the council, the town council will no likely have some, hopefully, softball questions for you. So,
Sure.
it's yours, Chris.
I've been in Calvert County now for going on about 12 years. In Chesapeake Beach for 6 years now. Absolutely love the town. Raised my family. Like Kathleen had said, I have an 8 and a 10-year-old. We plan to stay. This is my house for life, as far as so I'd like to tell people. I've been with the Alexandria Fire Department for 15 years. I've been part of the hazmat team there for about 12 years now. So I'm a VDEM certified hazmat specialist. So that's my occupation. So with my job, I get to spend a lot of time here, and going down to the beach is one of our favorite things to do. And I just being in the town, I would really looking forward to the public service. I know it can be a thankless job at times, and would greatly appreciate the consideration to be part of my first public service, I would say, of my
Except for putting out fires and saving people's lives.
except for that. Yeah.
Say that hazmat training may come in handy on planning and zoning.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's part of everyone's life, I would say. So
This is the time where we usually ask the council if they have any questions of the new. We have names for new volunteers. But
Sure.
I usually just go like that, reel them on in, But so if the council has any questions, Peggy,
I don't have any questions, and I would just like to say thank you for stepping up and offering yourself to public service.
Yeah, thank you again. Very important for the town to keep operating, to have plenty of volunteers. So really appreciate you taking this on, or offering to take it on. So thank you.
Yeah, the volunteers in this town are essential. Certainly appreciate anybody that's volunteering in any capacity. So thanks, Chris, for stepping up. Looking at your resume and then hearing Kathleen speak highly about you. Looking forward to having you serve. Thank you.
thank you.
Councilman.
No questions. Thank you for stepping forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, echoing what they all said. I mean, Kathleen speaks well of you. And, we're losing a Southie, so we're picking up a Southie. So we'll call that a win.
That's right.
No questions. Thank you, though, for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve appointing Chris Smith to Planning and Zoning?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. You're on board.
Thank you so much.
Be careful what you ask for.
Condolences, buddy.
Yeah. Another volunteer, right? There we go. Okay, next one. This is reappointing Ricky Birch to the Board of Appeals. Ricky has been a volunteer on the Board of Appeals for a few years now. I guess 3. Ricky's also over the years been here because he's I think he's the second HOA president of Chesapeake Village after Derek Favre. He's been volunteering either in his community or here, pretty much since he's been in town. And Ricky did ask me, he said he would like to continue his volunteerism. And we checked and he said, well, it's under our purview right here. And as I said earlier, there's no quit in this council. So is there a motion to reappoint Ricky Birch to the Board of Appeals?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? And the ayes have it. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, quick question about Mr. Birch. When is his term? His term
In
is up in the
December.
next couple weeks.
Yeah, when
Okay,
we're still in
thank you.
office.
Thank you, sir.
town council to consider authorizing the expenditure of $50,322 for the purchase of a new pump from Hills Electric. The allocation requires a general fund budget amendment, source of funding to be determined by the town council. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Are you happy, Jay?
I am, thank you.
Aye.
Yeah. He gave an eye, did he? Yeah. There were 7 ayes.
Pump go, Jay. Where's it go?
Yeah.
See him 31st. Definitely approve.
So, next item, and I'll mention it and then I'll speak to it. Town council to consider allocating $300,000 in funds to set aside for future improvements in the removal and replacement of the Board of Education owned Beach Elementary School tennis courts. This allocation requires a general fund budget amendment to account for the funds necessary to make improvements and sources of funding to be determined by the town council. Greg brought up a question earlier that I was going to address. We, in principle, we have a MOU with the Board of Education. Clearly we still aren't ready to ask this council to sign that MOU approved, so that will go to the next town council. I had lunch with Mayor Wall the other day. We sort of went over this, generally speaking, about what's going on, bringing him up to speed. And we also met with our town lobbyists because we've been very successful getting in both Governor Hogan's and Governor Moore's capital budget for stuff like this. This is what they do, and I would say that and our relationship is good enough that both those governors in the last 3 years have listened to me, and I was able to bring home $1.5 million. That went towards the repainting the Richfield Station water tower, and also to put money aside for the new water park. So here we are with I'll say the smallest number that goes under 100% chance of having this money, getting this once again from Governor Moore. So it'll be win-win in terms of the town, because we're at a spot where from a financial standpoint, okay, we can, we would have to agree to spending $300,000 to fix those courts to tip-top shape, just top shelf. Okay. And I personally, if I was on council, I would do it if it was the town money. But, because of my experience and relationships on State Circle, we're going to be able to do this where the state pays the $300,000. So it's really, the money part of it is win-win. We're going to work out the, fine tune the MOU later. So right now, I would say, is there a motion for the town council to consider allocating the $300,000 as stated before?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One opposed. Okay, very good. And there'll be a, I believe we're going.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So, those were supposed to be maintained by the county since they put the new school, right? The tennis courts. But now you're saying the $300,000 that we're setting aside actually the state funds?
Okay, I'll explain it slower. Sometimes when I've been doing something for so long, I sort of talk fast and assume that everybody knows what I'm talking about. That's sort of two items. That you're asking about. The MOU, okay, will be fine tuned, okay, with the new board and probably the new school board too, I guess, but the superintendent's on board. And in terms of the money, okay, I was mayor. Your mayor was able to acquire a source to fund the $300,000 for us. Yeah, that's it there. And we have voted, so it's been approved. I believe we are going to set a special session aside. Holly, you want to elaborate? You elaborate. Emergency meeting, whatever it is.
Sure. So we're going to set an emergency meeting for an emergency ordinance on December 10th at 5 p.m.
Yeah, if the council can all make, it'll be a 10, 15-minute meeting. Now, I thought, what?
I'm out of town.
Oh, I thought, yeah, I was mixed up. Were you the 3rd or the 10th? Right,
I'm here on the 3rd.
right. Is the 3rd good for anybody here? We need 5, so we could do 5 without Peggy on the 10th if that's what we have. I'm
Do a
looking
show
over
of
at everybody.
hands.
You're any date, Keith? How are you? You're any date?
What time will the
Adam?
meeting be?
5 o'clock. Are you good for either one, or do you have a preference? You're good. Mr. Fink, you're good?
Either one.
Okay, then we'll decide on the 3rd or the 10th, and that'll be it. So we're good there then. Okay, so,
Let us know.
I'm sorry?
Just let us know. when we
Oh,
decide.
yeah. So Mayor Wall, by the time you take over, I hope to have that 300,000 sitting in hand for you, and the MOU for the tennis courts will give the new council an opportunity to give something to your people. So that's a really great thing. At this time, is there any public comment? Sure. You've already stated your name and address, I believe.
Oh, yes, you have it by heart. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
First of all, I would like to bring up my situation again and to clarify some situation that has been brought up by several of the town councils that have texted me privately to let me know that I could settle this out of court or out of the ways if I just made a deal with you guys. Well, it's not going to happen. And I just wanted to let you know that my property, unbeknownst to Miss Holly, is 96 feet across my property line, 105 feet deep. And if you guys don't know the zoning laws in our own county, in our own town, you need 7,500 square feet to have a piece of property subdivided. I don't have that. I have a garage apartment with a primary property with me. I cannot subdivide my property to sell for millions of dollars, as some of you all think I can. Okay? That being said, you are holding my rental license hostage. You're saying I owe you $30,000. You can't make up your mind. You agreed to a meeting, which never happened the last town council meeting. Not only did you agree to a meeting, I wanted to bring an attorney. Cancel that meeting. The other thing is, at that meeting, you said I wouldn't be charged anything. Guess what? I've gotten a bill every week. Now I've gotten a shut-off notice. And I've gotten payments due. I've gotten late fees and everything else. Interesting. But you guys can sit here and say you can make a decision on a zoning person, but you can't make a decision on three landowners having a $30,000 bill with you, a $60,000 bill with you, and a $30,000 bill. That is sad. But you can make a decision because you're still in office until the 18th. Well, pretty sad. And my water gets shut off. Who's the liar now? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Okay. We'll have a council lightning round, and for all intents and purposes, this meeting will be over because then we're just going to head into closed session. So, council lightning round. Councilwoman Bodine.
I'll just say it's been an honor to serve you in the town for 20 years. Thank you, and go gentle into this good night.
Yeah, it's been a long meeting, so I'll keep it very brief as well. One note I want to make is Randy Gebman still here?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to point out, and this doesn't shock me, it might shock some other people, that not, unless I missed something, not one vote changed from the original votes to the recount. Yeah, of course not. Okay, well done. It's been an honor to be part of this group and to serve up here. And I just want to say congratulations to every new council member and to the new mayor, once and future mayor, I should say. I made a quick comment in the candidate forum, these many months ago, about people who get involved in one way or the other. It's one thing to complain. It's one thing to speak up. It's another thing to step up. And as everyone on this new council has done that, I look forward to your success. As George Herbert Walker Bush said to Bill Clinton on the way out the door, your success is our success. Good luck to you.
Very well.
It's been a true honor and privilege to serve our beautiful small town these past 8 years. Thank you, Mayor Mahoney, fellow council members and town staff for your support, encouragement, and advice. I am proud of the several accomplishments achieved over these years, including serving as chair of the Climate Change Advisory Group and Economic Development Committee, and the creation of our annual Taste the Beaches event. Special thanks to Mayor Irish Mahoney for his 28 years of service to our town, and to Councilmember Bodine for 20 years of service. I am hopeful that several of my initiatives continue forward in the new administration, including Coastal Resiliency Plan, Economic Development, Taste the Beaches, additional solar panels across our town, and finally, the walkway across the marsh area, which we all know its future name. Thank you.
Very good, sir.
Well, as Mayor Mahoney did, I certainly, excuse me, I certainly want to thank my wife. These 8 years, started out, I had kids at home. They've gone now. You know, there's a lot of things you sacrifice to serve, and it has been a labor of love. But certainly, a lot of the things that I have in my life certainly not possible without my wife. And I'd like to leave everybody, especially the incoming administration, and I'm certainly not going to quote him, but 8 years ago, I stood in your shoes, and Councilman Carpenter was up here. It was his last meeting, and you know, we certainly have had our differences over the years too, but he spoke eloquently about serving the town, and that's kind of the message that I want to bring forth. Make yourselves available to your constituents. Attend town events. Be immersed in the fabric of the town. It's an incredible place, and it's been an amazing journey. I'm sorry that I won't be attending MML with some of you folks. This has been personal growth has been incredible. As one of the reasons that I originally ran. But serving the town and being involved in the town events and getting to know people. Maybe we think we know some of these business owners. Try to know them better, engage with them, and get out there. That was one of the things that I'll certainly miss, but I loved about serving was engaging the public face to face. So I want to thank everybody for supporting my second term here, and it's been a gas.
It has.
Yeah, it has. And I want to thank everybody up here. These folks are smart folks, the kind of individuals running for council. You get up and you're with folks that are smart, and you hope that they kind of pull you along a little bit. I remember when I first got elected, I would joke and I would say, I hope that some of these folks I'm serving with don't figure out I'm not as smart as they are.
We did.
Touche. But it's been great, and we know we're in good hands. The new administration coming in, the new council. I think we're in good hands with those folks. There's amazing energy there, and we're looking forward to cheering on your success. Thanks.
Now you know why I love Greg. Shoot.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to say congratulations to all the folks who are elected. I wish you the best over the next 4 years. And it's been a pleasure serving with all of you. I've learned a lot. And hopefully we've made some good differences in folks' lives along the way. So thank you.
Likewise, congratulations to everyone coming in. As the newest member on this council, I still really remember what it's like to be new. And it is a fascinating tour through how this town runs and the different things you can do and all the things you need to consider. It's very exciting. I am sure you will enjoy it. I also wanted to just put a word in for a new water park. And I know that it's been very controversial, but our park is 30 years old and it is a little bit tired and it's a little bit sinking and it's a lot of bit broken. We do have money to do it. We have ARPA funds. We have other funds. So do consider to continue the plans as the public has voted on it in this town, through different surveys, to look at putting in a nice new park for the town. The park could use a new park. The town could use a new park. We'd love a new park. So I hope that you could take a look at that. Thank you.
And thank you, council. Is there a motion to close the regular meeting pursuant to general provisions, Article 3-305B1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, performance evaluation of an employee or official, or over whom this public body has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals? Is there a motion to do such that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's go.
So moved.
We'll call it close enough.
Okay, any ayes have it? Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move.
Second. Any ayes have it?
I make a motion, we move the meeting to Traders Bar.